So, welcome back to Curious Now from the Center for Medical Simulation. I'm Jenny Rudolph, and I'm back with BJ So and Mel Barlow to talk about our workouts of the week regarding what are people thinking when they do something that's like baffling, wrong-headed, or amazing. And the workout of the week was to invent or imagine some frames or some mental models that might make what we saw the person do make perfect sense. And the method behind this madness is that it's a way to make our own selves a little more flexible. It forces some cognitive reappraisal on ourselves, which is the fancy word for reframing, because we often assume we know what other people are thinking, but we really don't. Welcome back, Mel. How are you doing?
Good, thanks, Jenny. I'm a nurse and I'm the academic lead for the Specialised Learning Environments and SIM at Australian Catholic University.
And BJ So, welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. I'm BJ. I'm an anaesthetist based at Wollongong, Sydney, and I'm involved a lot with sim education at my department.
Great. Well, BJ, I'd love to lead off with you, wondering how this workout of the week went for you or what you discovered. Where are you at with it?
After I heard about the workout, I was trying to be on the lookout for examples, and then one came to light fairly quickly. It's a clinical scenario. This is in my workplace in the context of being an anesthetist. And I'm working with a very, very junior doctor, like first exposure to the field of anesthetics kind of level. And their role is often to do the documentation during the case. This is how much of drug X and Y and Z were given, and this is how the anesthetic was delivered. They had a case come up that was quite complex for a variety of reasons, of a lot of uncertainty, had to go exploring, some clinical incidents happened that needed to be documented, nothing too serious, but needed a bit more work on my part. So in the moment, I was very task oriented and just dealing with the anesthetic that I didn't write any of the notes down, expecting my junior to do that, which is usually their role. I then walked out thinking, oh, there's one more thing I need to write down. So I went out to the recovery to add some more documentation and I opened up the file and went, whoa, it's completely blank. Nothing was written down for the past hour. What just happened? So, just I guess to wrap the story, I did speak to the person involved. I didn't explore this person's frame, if I'm honest. I just assumed I knew or assumed I had some rough idea. We had a discussion about expectations of the role, about the importance of communication. If you're not sure, just ask. I'm happy to, if you're not sure what was given, I'm happy to answer. Or if you're worried, if you need to get onto another task and you need me to do the notes, that's totally cool too. Just let me know. We just can't go on assuming something's been done. This was effectively a near miss as far as documentation was concerned.
Okay, interesting. So, maybe we can invent a few frames together. I'm sure you probably have one, BJ, but the action was the junior did not document the case where you both were providing an anesthetic during a surgery in the operating room. And that is something that's really needed. The result was this patient's future care could have been compromised because of this lack of documentation, but BJ caught it, and so therefore it was qualified as a near miss because you guys were able to go back and do it.
Mhm.
Still, though, wonder what we might imagine this resident was thinking such that he or she did not do that. Often, even something that's a mistake is kind of an act of genius once you know what their frame was. So, any thoughts about the frame, Mel or BJ?
My initial thoughts was, does he not know the process? Does he not know what to write?
Mm.
So maybe there's a knowledge gap, and
Oh,
but he also must have a secondary frame that would go with that, which is I don't know what to write and I shouldn't ask BJ now.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and
Or it
I
could
don't want to get
be
it wrong.
yeah, like I'll write what I know. If I don't know, it's best not to write anything incorrect.
yeah. Um,
Maybe his pen didn't work.
I'm wondering if he thought, maybe he had a wrong idea and he's supposed to enter it or she's supposed to enter it into the electronic medical record later. Um, what did you invent anything else, BJ?
Yeah, I had a whole bunch, and I might also add that after coming up with this list, I reapproached this individual a week later to actually discover what was the true frame. I thought it'd be an interesting one to add to this podcast.
Oh,
But I'll give you
cool.
my list first. And so one we've already alluded to, I just didn't know I was supposed to do this, or best not to write anything down I'm unsure of. Second one being the list turnover is more important, i.e., getting things flowing quicker so we can get through more cases. BJ can write the notes whilst I go and see the next patient, which is what happened, as in this person went to go see and assess the next patient. I'm supernumerary in my role, i.e., I am so junior, I don't really have much I can contribute. I'm mainly here to learn. So none of my actions are super critical. It's like if you're a med student on rotation and you do something good, awesome. We don't expect that of you, but you did something great. Good job. Maybe that's the expectation coming in because this is an extremely junior person coming into quite a specialized field. And
So,
then the last idea I had was this is a really super complicated situation where BJ had to have very extensive discussions with the other specialists and with the patients, and maybe he's better off to write things down rather than me.
great. Okay, I'm dying to know what you found out when you actually talked to him.
So the correct frame, which I didn't know at the time, I was thinking, why did I just ask it? But anyway, the correct frame, which I found out was the second one, the list turnover is more important. So a bit more context to the day. It was quite a frustrating day for both this person and I, irrespective of our own dynamic, but just the list in general. Things were not flowing well. Patients are not being called for early enough. There are delays in getting to the operating theater. There's a lot of wasted time. And there was concern that we're going to overrun, which we actually did overrun. This person said to me, one of the things I was taught early on in my career was the goal of the registrar, which is, I suppose, the resident in the American system, is to make the life of the consultant better. Smooth things out, get everything pre-prepared, make your boss's life easier. The role of and I'm using Australian language here, the JMO, or the American language might be the intern, is to make the next rung up, which we would call registrar, or you call resident, make the next rung up better. So my goal here was to try and make your life better. And I could see that we were stressing out about the list turnover. So I wanted to just go and see the next patient. So that's why I thought, yeah, you write the notes and I'll just go and see the next patient. And that way we can speed things up.
Fantastic. It's so interesting, when there's a unexpected frame and also interesting when it's genuinely coming from a good place as well. So he was basically helping with the production pressure in the operating theater
Hmm.
and trying to get things rolling. That's so interesting.
Hmm.
Mel and BJ, I'm interested in your experience of this exercise as a judgment cooling and flexibility enhancing exercise. Like, I often find when I've gotten kind of indignant, and if I can sort of slow myself down, I give the person the benefit of the doubt and I try to think what might be going on with them. Um, uh, Good things happen. But I don't know really whether that works all the time for others or what that's like for others. So, what was the exercise like, sort of on this meta level for either of you?
It highlights how easy it is to attribute things to the other person in that moment. A whole array of things. That's kind of our default, isn't it? Judgment. And it really does. If you can look for positives rather than the negatives, it actually really, really does change your mindset. And like it really does help reframe your thinking. And it's such a simple move, but it can be so powerful.
You're talking about it in a sort of gentle way, which I think it can be, but I have to say I've often experienced this for myself as almost like a little slap on the side of the head or whack on upside the head. I'm like, How many times do you have to learn, Rudolph, that your negative attribution is probably wrong? And this person actually had a great reason for doing what they're doing. Even if it's like not quite a right reason, it's still a good reason. Yes, I agree with you. I think it's helpful. BJ, how was it for you? This sort of meta impact of this exercise?
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the areas in which I've seen the most parallel between the work I do in sim translating to my real everyday life, particularly my clinical life. And so, in forcing myself to not assume I know the frame, which I maybe did on this occasion. I assumed a frame or a few frames, one of them by chance happened to be correct. But there's been more, I guess, charge examples in my career where I've been like, this makes absolutely no sense. And my first reaction is to think this person's a complete idiot and to judge them harshly. And I have to remind myself, most of us are rational beings. We do things, whether with flawed logic or not, that is logical to us. What was the frame that led to it, the logical response being the action that was performed? And I find when I do that, definitely what you mentioned, it softens my demeanor. It makes me go, okay, I'm not going to just label this person as a blanket negative descriptor, but what was the reason for this action? How can I understand this better? And I find it does lead to a lot more meaningful engagement with them. So it's definitely one that's it's helpful. And I think maybe in this context, give myself a little credit here. I was trying to assume a positive frame, even though I didn't explicitly explore it of this person. And I think it did help the feedback that I gave to land a bit better.
Yeah.
But still, I could have asked for the frame. That would have been quite an easy thing to do.
Well, we all wish we would be so saintly all the time, and God knows we are not. So, BJ So and Melanie Barlow, I just wanted to thank you so much for joining us for these 5 episodes and sharing your workouts of the week, how they've gone for you, what you've learned from them. And this kind of wraps up this unit of the podcast Curious Now. So, this has been the chapter about other people, the thoughts that color our interactions. So, thank you, BJ.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure to be here.
And thank you, Mel Barlow.
Thank you so much. It was fantastic to be here.